Being here. Thank you, Joe, especially for picking a Chilean novel there. My mom's from Chile. Thank you, Becky. It's great, great meeting you. It's great having you here. And I'm definitely sharing the stage with you. That was some really good writing. It was great hearing that. It's great, you know. So the Epic of in case you haven't heard yet, I'm pretty sure I've told almost all of you now. It's a, how do I even start to explain this? I just really have a big influence on just mythology and just sort of ancient religion and these stories that have lasted for thousands and thousands of years. And to me, there's something special about that, whether you think it's true or not. That is just kind of amazing, you know, and that was kind of the sort of the original inspiration of that. And I was trying to maybe kind of tap into a story like that, throw some sci-fi in there, and sort of also tell the story of a guy's life, even though it takes place over an immense amount of time, because he's immortal. And try to have some sort of, what it means to be human even though you are immortal, and what happens over that time, while at the same time kind of having a nod at least to like how these mythologies and religion have developed through humanity. And if it, you know, there wasn't so much a relation except for with the plot development with religion and mythology and how that developed. But it's just all about how just sort of came to be, and his faults, a lot about his faults, and his interactions with Sue, and a lot of these sort of higher principles and beings, and the mistakes and how they've driven to the point he finally arrives at. Really didn't give much away there. I was really trying hard to, not to, which was a little bit hard to like pick a passage out of this book tonight, because everything I was picking out gave so much away, and maybe that was a mistake to begin with. But I decided to go on a part that's later in the book. It's not too long. But I just really like it. It kind of has a lot of imagery, and it just shows you a little bit about kind of Ur's struggle a little bit, and not your, but and I hope you like it. Thanks for coming. Do you remember me? Looked around in bewildered, trying to find the source of the voice. He saw an Eve in the trees beside the trickling waterfall against the rock, kneeling down, watching the fish. Spoke across the pool, eager for a conversation, his voice echoing ever so perfectly across the water. No, I have no memories of you, should I? The Eve dropped a pebble into the water. We, or should I say, I met you when you were just a child. Somehow understood that a great sadness consumed him. We again saw you, just you, before we let you go into the world. We made you make a will oath, and because you broke it, the world must be made anew again. The Eve dropped another pebble in the water, and watched the fish flee the unwelcome disturbance. Spoke. I am sorry I broke your oath to you. There was a silence, and all that could be heard was the trickle of the waterfall. What do you mean the world must be made new again? And who are you that I'm supposed to know? The Eve picked up another handful of pebbles off the ground. I was once Sokoas. I cared for your people in the woods and helped them grow, while you were kept by the foolish one that you called Nora. I remember them now. There were two of them, just alike in thought and being. The Sokoa threw another pebble into the water, causing the ripples to collide. Yes, we were once two, but no longer is this the case. The only thing that made us separate is that my other whole desired to grow on into the next world more so than I. The Eve threw another pebble in the water. We would have grown together into the next world, but you and your tower delayed our time here. And no longer did she want to stay, so no longer are we the Sokoas, but rather I am the Sokoa. I stay because I must. We must undo the wrong we have put into this world. Ur's voice rose again. What wrong? And you never answered my question about making the world anew. The Sokoa dropped all the remaining pebbles at once into the water, causing the two fish to swim completely out of sight in the depths below. You have so many questions, but you are a blind fool. Do you not see the memories we keep within the trees and stones? They will not answer your questions. I will not answer anything you ask, and if I did, you would not understand. You have ruined our plans. All it needed was time, and then you could have finally left. We could have finally left this world, this reality, for good. But you, the Eve stood up and glared at her. You, how could you? Everything would have been as it should be if only you had never been born. And now you are here in our home, not welcome, causing ripples in our being that should not be, while we are forced to live with them. My other whole is gone because of you. Had never seen so much emotion in the Eve before and did not know what to say. There was a long silence between them as the ripples in the pool slowly became rhythmic again and synced with the waterfall, as if nothing had happened at all. All the Sokoa rose to his feet and disappeared into the woods. And said across the pool, "Forgive me." Sat on the ground by the pond with the waterfall that made such memorizing ripples, one after another, up and down. He sat not knowing what to make of the Sokoa's word, and now he was not sure what to make of his new home. It felt like he had only just arrived, but then again, he was also not certain of time. Time did not seem to pass here, and something about the light seemed strange. His thoughts here were finely tuned ever since he had awakened from the nightmare of the vagueness of what he was. In fact, he felt as though he had not really had a bad thought until now. Knew who he was, perception that perceives. But as he looked up at the trees, something did not feel right. The trees grew together in a way that suggested they helped one another grow. Just looking at them gave a sense of calm. But as he continued looking, he noticed a pattern emerge, as if they were made that way to grow. They were too green, too perfect. The first wisps of the morning light drifted down through the tops of the trees, and looked on, absorbed with the light appeared to snow down upon him, filling his heart with benevolence. As peered into the brilliance reflecting evenly off the pond near his feet, he was happy but strangely dissatisfied. What did the Sokoa mean, thought? How have I wronged him? What plans did I ruin? There were now many questions that disturbed this once lovely miasma of being. Why would he wish I had never existed? What have I done? The more questions asked, the more beautiful perfection of the trees and the place degraded. Instead of growing angry in his confusion, decided to do something he had never done before. He began to think about himself and his perception of the world. Watched the trees grow and the seasons change as he sat by the pond, falling deeper and deeper into thought. He sat stretching his being far into the trees, looking for answers. There he found the same images he saw when he was trying to find himself with Aeon, which he realized was probably many seasons ago now. There was a black light lit by bright flashes, a golden city destroyed by the dells, a peaceful garden filled with strange humans. Then all he saw was water. He thought on answers, consumed by the vastness of his own thoughts, barely thinking of the world around him any longer. Yet inevitably something happened, and began to think on that which was most important in his life, and that was love.
Any questions for Carl?
You.
So, I've asked this a couple times to you actually, but I don't think you've ever actually answered it. So when you kind of told us what your inspiration was with melding Greek mythology and the history of it. My question is did you know kind of the steps of, how the protagonist was going to go through things, or did it develop as you were writing it? Did you have a loose base, or was it more really defined as you wrote it?
Very loose. The further the book went out, and then per parts. So there's 4 parts to the book. Each part was sort of defined. In my head, I don't really write anything down. Well, that's not true. I'll write pretty loose, just descriptions of chapters. and then, you know, I pretty much stick to those, but it usually changes a lot. But yeah, I mean, I have this overarching theme and concept that I want to try to touch on. That usually ends up changing a little bit by the end, and then there's this whole thing of just trying to make it work once you have that idea. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and in follow-up, did you surprise yourself on how it, like where it went in terms of as you're going along?
Not so much. I mean, I think at first when I had these ideas, it was surprising. When I finally made a decision on where I wanted to go, then yeah, that was surprising. But then once the actual writing part for me is just kind of like actually just trying to put it on paper.
I gotcha.
So.
Because you're writing this when you were really young.
Okay.
Do you feel like you identify with this main character as just kind of a reflection of you, or is this not that?
I think what I was trying to do, I was reading a lot of Dune series. Maybe smoking one. But the books get really weird, that whole series towards the end, sort of thing, and I think what it was, it kind of inspired me. He tried to write from this perspective of a god, actual perspective of God, and it just seems like kind of, how do you do that? Crazy thing to do. So at a young age, that's kind of what inspired it. It was always kind of moving in that direction, and I had to have sort of a story behind that, and that's kind of where all of this other thing came from. And then also just kind of sort of this big overreaching sci-fi element as well that you'll find out about in the book when you read it as well. So it's kind of these lower themes, that, and you have this sort of just in your face sort of epic, and then it just has I mentioned even in what I just read, towards the end there, just a lot of just little, I guess they're not called Easter eggs. I don't know what you call them anymore. Just little Easter eggs. Yeah, I guess in this context, an Easter egg, right? Yeah. I've been watching way too many Star Wars trailers.
I have a question. So over the many years you were writing the book, were there certain places or times where you wrote more and then took a break and were writing some of your other stuff, or was it?
With the Epic of Ur, it was pretty straight through. Did I interrupt you? I didn't mean to do that.
No, I was just still talking. I don't know why.
With the Epic of Ur, it was pretty straight through. It felt like when I was 21, 2 years, oh my God, or 3 years, 4 years, But it was pretty straight through. What I took a lot of breaks on was editing. I had to start editing. I just started editing myself. Other books, what I'm writing now, yeah, it's it comes in these weird, I just throw up, and then it's done, and then I have to sit there and think about it forever, sort of thing, and try to find time to think about it. But yeah, with Ur, it was kind of, I think I'd been thinking about it for a long time before I started writing, oh, this might be a good idea, oh, this might be a good idea, and then finally I just kind of sat down and started doing it, and just kind of went from there. Allison helped me a lot. Editing. Yeah, lots of arguments about the plot and stuff. Yeah, it's a good thing to argue about that. Hey.
So you mentioned Frank Herbert in the Dune books. Who
Yeah.
else has influenced you? Not only in this, but in other things.
Well, okay, Lord of the Rings, of course, right? I've read every single thing there was, even his son's stuff. Actually, Children of Hyrule or whatever, which is his son, I actually got a lot of the voice, I feel from that, which is kind of written this sort of old, ancient sort of tone, and it's super kind of dense, right? And that it was kind of a goal sort of in this book, but also I hope I didn't screw it up too much, right? But also try to make it not reading the Odyssey is just okay, time to go to bed now.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be kind of light, and just have some action in there and stuff like that too. And so Dune, Lord of the Rings, just what else? Yeah, just a lot of philosophy. Yeah, I mean, I haven't mentioned that yet either. Just there's a lot of just kind of again, like themes like that throughout the book. And just, just trying to, well, let me try to answer your question some more. I mean, I love sort of like historical fictions and stuff, like The Pillars of Earth. Yeah, it's just, stuff like that. I love history, and just, philosophy, history, and stuff like that. So, I keep saying stuff like that, but it's
Oh, you should go.
I read the book straight through because I was like determined to read it. I really, a couple of comments. I love the passage of time. I really liked how you did the 4 parts. It made it really, and it was so different. One of my overarching questions that I kept having throughout the book was, what was your inspiration between the Eves and the other, with the bad guys? Were they supposed, I guess I can't, there's probably no real question, but are they aliens? Are they angels? What are they? Because it's very, there's a lot of different themes, and I'm interested in knowing like what your idea of that was.
Well, if you read like old mythology or something too, right, you go, what the hell are these damn things,
Yeah.
Like, and that was kind of my goal with that too. I never want to make it explicit, but you kind of get your own idea from it, and you got to read it and figure it out. Sort of like, I want it to be your book too. And the Dells, that is a weird inspiration because they're just super kind of like evil, and not even evil is the wrong word, kind of. It's just, they delight in extremes, and, you can see that anywhere, like drug addiction or anything, right? Just like chasing the dragon sort of thing. And that's what these things kind of are, and they come, and then like one of the most extreme sensations is pain, right? So they like to see that in themselves and in others, and they're kind of like, I guess if something evolved or something that went the kind of wrong direction with evolution, or and that's kind of where the inspiration of where they came from. And they just, and it's not even hate, it's like this twisted form of love even, and they're just really, really kind of nasty, so, yeah.
I was gonna ask, since I get to be present kind of through your writing process, this book was, this was like 10 years ago that you started writing this, so between then and now, and you've worked on new things consistently since like how do you feel like your writing has changed? Like obviously the topics are very different, but like your writing, your voice, I guess.
Thank you, wife, for that question.
You're welcome. We did not practice that earlier. He did not pay me $16 to.
I was super surprised to get this published to begin with. I just kind of talked with the publisher at a festival, and he, kind of was like, send it in, sort of thing. And I sent it in, and it's the first thing I've ever wrote, and so it's definitely like, my writing now, I can't wait. I'm really excited about what I'm writing now. It's just so like, just everything just fits, and it's just so solidly sci-fi, and it has just so many themes of what's kind of going on now, and then just kind of this extreme proportions sort of thing. And so in my writing then too, and I have just so much more like character development and stuff like that, and these characters. It's really strange too. Hopefully I'm not making another mistake or something with it. But each character, it's from kind of their own perspective, but they're coming from. So I'm having to write these 3 chapters back to back, and each character has like their own sort of style of writing because one's first person or one's third person sort of thing. One's first person, one's third person that slowly changes into first person because he gets a concept of I, or individuality, throughout the book. So his writing changes. So what you realize is that the whole time it wasn't first person in the book. So yeah, I'm really enjoying what I'm writing now. I hope I can finish it. It's really scary because sometimes I just get sort of lost and like just nervous about it, like I'm never going to finish this. But I'm about halfway through at that now, and hopefully I can you know, write a whole series or something like Emily did, you know, just keep going. But
Just have to say the fear